Welcome back to the Sandy Trail. We are in the second half of episode 2 of season 1 of the show called Sanditon. There are some scenes that I look forward to talking about, and you will see. We should get started with this one.
I am truly very sorry if I offend you, Mom.
You don't offend me, you amuse me. I like to tease and provoke. I expect you thought I was too hard on that young woman yesterday. But she gave as good as she got, did she not? Now, come on, Miss Hayward, answer me.
We already know that Lady Denham likes to tease and be sarcastic, but at the same time, it can be very offensive to some people, and those include Charlotte and Miss Lamb. Charlotte, before the scene, she talked to Tom Parker and Mary Parker back at the house and told them that she will visit Lady Denham and apologize to Lady Denham for the things that she said at that lunch party at that table, and they like, you don't have to. Charlotte can be naive sometimes. In my opinion, Charlotte should not be at Lady Denham's house right now. I don't think she owes her an apology, but that's Charlotte. She's want to be on the good side, on the good terms with everyone that she knows.
Do you think you were very impolite to Miss Lamb?
I gave a luncheon in her honour.
You made a spectacle of her. You didn't consider what her feelings might be. Far from home, amongst strangers. It was unkind of you.
Lady Denham forced Charlotte to fall into that trap again to reveal the opinion, what Charlotte thought of how Lady Denham acted toward Miss Lamb. And Charlotte did. And I'm like, here we go again with Charlotte speaking her mind freely and open to Lady Denham. But what she said was true. And Lady Denham, she doesn't see the whole picture sometimes. And sometimes she ignores what others feel or think.
She has 100,000 to comfort her. I only speak the simple truth. What?
You insisted on hearing my honest opinion, Mom.
So I did. And if I don't like it, it's no one's fault but my own, you imply.
And of course, she said it again. She's like, well, you asked me of my opinion, so, like, what do you want me to say? Like, this is my honesty. And Charlotte is very honest. She doesn't, like, put a white lie on what she thinks about something or someone. Like, she say what she believes, and she just spit it out. So if you ask her for an opinion, she'll be honest with you.
If you please, is this the coach for London?
It is, miss.
Then may I board it now?
Indeed you may, miss, for 6 shillings. No one here's got any objections, have they?
I have no money on my person. I'm not in the habit of carrying.
Hear that? Not in the habit. Go on, off you trot.
Miss Lamb trying to escape from Sanditon. Looked like she wanted to go to London. I'm wondering if there's someone in London that she knows that wants to be with. Clever woman. I mean, you know, she's trying to have this escape plan to leave town. And she approached this carriage, and you have to keep it in the back of your mind, like, this is a white people town. So they started looking at her like, okay, what this color woman wants, like, is she actually be able to get on this carriage? You know, that guy, he was like looking at her like, okay, do you have money? Because of the perspective that white people had on colored people back then.
Please, my banker in London will make sure you are paid.
Oh, banker in London, is it? Now I have heard everything.
Do you not know who I am?
No, I don't. Who are you?
I am Miss Lamb. I am an heiress. I have £100,000.
6 shillings will do, miss.
Don't you understand? I have to get to London. Excuse me.
This is making her situation even worse because they started to look at her funny. They're like, starting to mock her, like, okay, this color woman thinks that she can take off and go wherever she wishes and thinking that she has money, and now she doesn't have money. So there's kind of like a bully moment, if that makes sense.
Little Miss Hayward, for example, she's got a bit of spunk about her. Or Miss Lamb, then. The way she stood up with that old witch yesterday. You thought she'd be a lively handful in bed.
Don't even think about it, Crow.
No need to take that tone. Just only saying.
I mean it.
Three guys hanging out, drinking, playing game at the bar, talking about stupid things, especially when it comes to women, right? I really like to see this side of Sydney. We already know that he is very protective of his family after that conversation he had with Charlotte at the ball in the first episode of the season, but there's a very overprotective side of him in this scene about Miss Lamb. He's like, don't you dare talk about her or about her body and what she might be like in bed. I mean, that's like inappropriate. And his friend probably thinking he had the freedom to talk about it because it's three guys hanging out, and you know how guys are sometimes. So it's really cool to see this side of Sydney, and I think it's really sweet because he wants to protect Miss Lamb and make sure that she is safe and well taken care of, and he taking the responsibility as her guardian very seriously, and I think that means a lot. I think that shows who he really is deep inside of him, even though him and Charlotte are not friendly at the moment.
I am simply her guardian until she comes of age. Not a job I wanted, and I'm finding it damned irksome. The girl misses her homeland, hates the climate here.
And she doesn't care for you.
Pretty much takes exception to everything I say or do. Still, she's safer here than she is in London.
Sydney really didn't want to take the job to be a guardian over Miss Lamb, but again, it just shows how nice he really is. I mean, he did have to. I mean, he could have like passed her to someone else, or he could have left her in a dish. And he mentioned something interesting though: it's safer for her to be in Sanditon than London. So what's that mystery all about? What her old life was in London. Like, there had to be a good reason for Sydney to bring Miss Lamb to Sanditon.
Lamb? It's me. Charlotte Hayward. We met at Lady Denham's. What is it? What's the matter?
I'm gonna pull up a quick scene in the corner. This is at the church in the first half of episode 2. I forgot to put it in, but this was like the first time that Miss Lamb and Charlotte acknowledged each other. Like, they literally gave each other a glance in this scene, and they notice each other. Like, they acknowledge that, you know, there is a Charlotte and that there is a Miss Lamb, but they just haven't properly introduced themselves to each other. And then they met at the lunch party at Lady Denham, and now we see finally actually the personal interaction between Charlotte and Miss Lamb, and the way that Miss Lamb fell into Charlotte's arms. It was just like a heartbreaking moment. She is struggling a lot, being in this new town where she doesn't know anyone and she doesn't trust anyone, and she doesn't have a close female companion. The only closest thing she has is Sydney, but he's a guy. And the way that she fell into Charlotte's arms in this scene is just the first time that she actually trusts someone, but it's like in the invisible trust, if that makes sense. Like, she didn't say anything, she just like opened her heart and just allows Charlotte to get in and be there for her, and that she's willing to trust Charlotte to comfort her in that moment, if that makes sense. Also, before I forget, the lunch party, even though we didn't see them interact on a personal level, like what Charlotte said about marriage, about being independent, and how she agreed to what Miss Lamb said at the table. Miss Lamb has some background information on Charlotte, like, okay, this girl seemed cool, like she seemed to believe the same thing that I believe, maybe we'll become friends. And she seemed satisfied with what Charlotte said, and on vice versa, Charlotte seemed satisfied with what Miss Lamb said, especially at the end when Miss Lamb said, yeah, me and Edward not gonna work. And you can see that tiny smirk on Charlotte's face, and she's like, you go girl, like, you do whatever makes you happy. So with that elevated the comfort and the trust that she had in Charlotte in this scene when she just fell into Charlotte's arm, crying and just being emotional and very stressed and depressed about her current lifestyle, her current life situation right now.
It's all right, Esther. I would never have gone through with Miss Lamb, even if she liked me.
We have to dislodge that little interloper, Clara Brereton. She's determined to discredit us. I just wish this would end.
Believe me, so do I. And when we have the money, it will.
The end of this last scene that we talked about in the last video, we saw Esther giving that look to Edward when Charlotte was talking about love and affection and relationship and marriage. And I was like, okay, what'd that look for? And now we get the scene of them talking about getting the money from Lady Denham, and Edward like, don't worry, I would never fall for Miss Lamb. His kiss on her forehead in the scene, I'm just like, okay, that's like too romantic, and that is just not normal for a sibling relationship. And I'm just like, oh, that doesn't look good.
Stranger here too. But people don't look at you the way they look at me. No. But people do wish you well. Mr. Arthur Parker. He's a funny man. But very kind-hearted, I think.
Really nice of Charlotte just comforting Miss Lamb, like, hey, you're not alone. I was the stranger too when I came here, and we meet people, right? And we separate the good people from the bad people, and Charlotte already experienced that, and Miss Lamb will eventually experience more of that, especially after that lunch party at Lady Denham.
And his brother Sidney, he's your guardian, isn't he? He doesn't relish that role. Nor do I. But being in possession of a fortune means I must be managed. I'm sure he regards me as an infernal nuisance.
Charlotte assumed correctly that Sidney is Miss Lamb's guardian, and you can see how Miss Lamb is struggling in her relationship with Sidney. Like, even though Sidney trying her best, Miss Lamb just doesn't see the whole picture of the effort that Sidney trying to make and making sure that she is safe, that she is taking care of well, proper clothing, proper bed, proper food, just to make sure that she's healthy and safe.
If it's any consolation, I find him very impolite. And cold, too. Do you think me very spoilt and sulky? Not at all. After what you had to endure at Lady Denham's. She's a horrid old woman.
And Sidney seemed cold-hearted towards Charlotte, but we've seen some good side of him, especially with Miss Lamb. He just doesn't show that yet to Charlotte.
She can be. But I think she means no real harm. I wanted to stuff a rotten pineapple down her throat.
Charlotte is that type of person that willing to give everyone a chance, especially a second chance. She's that type of person that believes that everyone has something good inside of them, including Lady Denham. But it's really funny though that Miss Lamb mentioned about the pineapple and wishing to put the pineapple down Lady Denham's throat, and that shows how annoyed she was at the party and how offensive Lady Denham was toward her and about her family history and how she is a hello woman. It just shows how frustrated she was after she experienced that.
We can survive this, Miss Lamb.
Georgiana.
Charlotte.
It's just nice to see this scene of these two female friends just sharing stories and just having some laughs in the midst of it. But yeah, this is a friendship to watch for in season 1 and season 2. Charlotte and Georgiana is a great woman in their own ways, but when they together, I think it's just like a dynamite. They're very independent, very strong-willed, and they know what they want, and they know who they are, and they will experience the life in Sanditon in their own personal life, but at the same time together as friends.
Lady Denham is threatening to withdraw her investment. I'm at my wit's end. She has it in her power to ruin me. While you...
All right. Enough. The promotion of Sanditon is a very delicate business, which I'm not sure you truly understand. But I am trying my best for you. Truly.
You get to see this businessman side of Sydney, and again, his love for his brother. And it's really interesting though, like throughout the episode, you might pick up on it, but from what I seen from the first time I watched this show, Tom Parker can easily stress about everything that is related to building the town, and Sydney is basically Tom's right-hand man, and Tom trusts Sydney like with all his money and trust in building the town. And Sydney is the type of brother that will easily reduce the stress that Tom is feeling at the moment. And without Sydney, Tom is a mess. Tom can be that type of man that can do some stupid things or make dangerous deals or dangerous promises or take dangerous chances on something that relates to Sanditon. And Sydney, like his wingman, like trying to like not get Tom in trouble, especially with the business deals that Tom made with Lady Denham and other investors and the people building the town. If Tom makes any stupid mistake in regard to the business of the town, he's gonna run to Sydney, and Sydney is like more of a calm and reserved guy when it comes to these business dealings and sorting out the investment for the town.
Good afternoon, Miss Hayward.
It is, Mr. Stringer. It is.
Charlotte started to run into him more often. He seemed very happy to run into her, and Charlotte was really in a happy mood with Miss Lamb. But I think part of that happiness is that she found a friend in Georgiana, and they're just having a fun walk together. Watching it back, I wonder if Charlotte knew whose clothing those were, you know? I don't know, I feel like she didn't have enough time to turn her head around and, you know, kept walking.
Miss Haywood. Am I never to get away from you?
Mr. Parker, I assure you, you're the last person I wish to see.
Yes. You're right, I spoke out of turn. Forgive me.
Of course. Excuse me.
Another question that came to mind when I watched this again, I'm like, why did he not either cover himself in towel, but that's impossible, or at least like get back into water where she doesn't see him fully naked like that? Oh my goodness, that's like back in those days, seeing a man naked like that, that's just like a big no-no. Wow. So dun dun dun, Charlotte saw a glimpse of his naked body, and she just like really surprised. She didn't know what to say. Before the scene, Charlotte and Georgiana was walking along the shore, I think on the other side of the beach, and Georgiana had to leave, and Charlotte was left alone, and she continued walking. So this was unexpected for her. Like, she did not plan this at all. It was awkward for Sydney to say that, like, oh, you never seem to get away from me. Like, you always close to me, or at the same place at the same time that I'm at. And I'm like, Sydney, you making it really awkward between you and Charlotte. And Charlotte just like very surprised that she got into this situation, and she did not look happy. Like, sometimes, not to be like judgmental, but sometimes women, like, you know, they'll be like attracted to it, you know. But in this situation, Charlotte like, can I unsee that? Like, I did not want to see that. Like, I don't want to capture that image of his naked body and have it live rent-free in my mind forever. Like, no, like, wash it away. So Charlotte just, she wanted to escape. She's like, and then Sydney said, oh, forgive me for, you know, saying that. And I was like, wow, that's like the first time he apologized to her. And I think he meant it well. And Charlotte, poor the nice person she is, she's like, yeah, you know, you forgiven, like, whatever, like, can I just leave? Charlotte did not want to stay there. Sydney was more happy than her to be in that situation. He had that little smirk on his face. He's just like, wow, did that really actually happen? Charlotte just like running as fast as she could, and like running out of breath. I think Charlotte had that mix of shock and attraction and intensity in what happened to her with Sydney in that scene. I think she's just very overwhelmed about what happened. But hey, his body looks really good. Like, looks like he has some abs going on. There's no way that she would not think her body is ugly. There's no way. I think it's funny looking back to this scene and watching it back and just see how embarrassed Charlotte was in the scene, and Sydney just enjoying it. Like, he seemed to enjoy it more than her. But this scene will escalate with whatever going on between Sydney and Charlotte in episode 3. We'll see what happened in the next review. Yeah, what what a way to end the episode 2. The way the writers planned out episode 2 and ending like that, that's like a banger. Yeah, so that's all for the second half of episode 2 of season 1 of Sanditon. I hope you enjoyed it. It's really short, but some major things happen in the second half of this episode. As usual, comment below your thoughts. I would love to hear them, and I will reply to them. Would love to get to know some of you, some of those newcomers, especially the Sanditon fans, and of course my original fan base from One Heart to Heart. Please talk to me, and I would love to hear from you. And if you don't have a YouTube account and cannot comment, I am on Twitter, so I'm gonna put my Twitter handle on here. Feel free to tweet me on that handle. I am on Instagram too, the same username as YouTube. The only difference though, on Twitter, I do have 2 Twitter accounts. One is personal, and the second one, this one, is for TV and show critique. I like to talk a lot, tweet a lot about my shows. But yeah, anything, jot them down in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. And I decided between season 1 and season 2, I'm gonna do like a mid shout out video of all the comments that I received on season 1 before we move on to season 2, just to give some love back to you guys and acknowledge you guys. Thank you for your support so far and your patience, especially to those that have been here since the beginning. I've been spending the whole summer filming these in between work and vacation. I do work at home, so it gives me more flexibility to do these videos, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you for your support, and I'll see you next week for episode 3 review. Bye.